Welcome to another video, guys. So today I would like to talk about my return towards the local scenes of my local Yu-Gi-Oh card shop tournaments. And it's been quite a while as well, because ever since the whole pandemic thing, as well as work, being busy with work and the different other things I have in life, I tend to actually avoid going in public areas as of late due to that. So because I decided to do something more spontaneous, so I participated in my locals tournament. So in this video, I'll talk about the deck I'll be using for the tournament as well. So first, that will be the deck profile. Second of all, will be the different other archetypes and decks I've encountered throughout the entire event. And thirdly, my thoughts and comments, as well as what I would actually feel that maybe what I would actually think of doing for the future, or maybe actually participate in different other card shop tournaments. So without further ado, let's get on to the deck profile, shall we? So YouTube vlog transition, let's go. First up, I'm playing 3 copies of Cyber OG Cyber Dragon, which is basically a must if you're gonna play any Cyber Dragon decks. You basically need the bread and butter. This is basically your OG card you need to use for your fusion materials, etc. and etc. for the different combos to go off. I play 2 Cyber Dragon Herds as well. This basically helps us search for Cyber Dragons and add it to our hand when this card is sent to the graveyard, preferably using Chimera Type Rampage Dragon's effect as a mill target. Next up is 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Cores, because Cyber Dragon Core as itself is a searcher as well, which allows you to search for Cyber Spell and Traps and add it to your hand. So most time you actually target either Cyberload Fusion, Cybernetic Overflow, or maybe other cyber spell and traps that you actually find useful inside this deck. And also, if you do not control any monsters while this card is in the graveyard, you can banish and special summon the Cyber Dragon from the deck onto the field. I played 2 Cyber Dragon Veers as well, because all these monsters are considered Cyber Dragons when they are summoned onto the field. That way you can actually go for more Cyber Dragon plays just like that right on the dot. And also 2 Cyber Dragon Nashers to actually target the OG Cyber Dragons and bring out onto the field when this card is normal or special summon. And if you were to use this, you can also use the additional effect attributing a machine type monster to bring this card onto the field. And you use it for a link material, which is also great because it's a level 1. Next up, I also using 2 light attribute kaijus and also 2 cyber dark chimeras because it's a power bond searcher. And another effect is that you can banish monsters from the graveyard to essentially go for more fusion plays. So this is basically like cybernetic overload, cybernetic overload, or whatever the name was, which was a quick lay sale to actually half your life points to actually use monsters in your graveyard as fusion materials. This basically is that, but it's also a power bond searcher, so actually it is actually a very good card to use. Next, I play 2 copies of Ash Blossoms and also 2 copies of Effect Veilers. For this entire deck, basically in the OCG format, might be different from TCG, and I don't know what other differences in TCG there might be, but this is actually what I will actually use inside my competitive deck. Next up, I play 1 copy of Cyber Rev System because this allows you to special summon Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. So normally I'll target Cyber Dragon Nashor so I can bring out the OG Cyber Dragon as well. As a second effect, they'll actually go for link monster plays. Then I play 2 copies of Cyber Repair Plant, 2 copies of this quick play spell to essentially protect my Cyber Dragon fusion monsters, not to mention special summoning them onto the field. Next, I play 2 copies of Overlord Fusion because you'll be banishing the Cyber Dragon monsters and its materials to bring out a Cyber Dragon fusion monster. And once you've done that, during that turn for an OTK, you can go for a Cyber Load Fusion, bring out Chimera Attack Over Dragon, which will have a higher attack points later on. And also 3 copies of Power Bond because Power Bond is searchable right now, but it doesn't hurt to at least play 3 copies just in case you don't actually draw into Cyber Dark Chimera to actually search for these cards. And finally, the main searchers of the deck, which is actually Cyber Emergency Call. So basically adds a Cyber Dragon or Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand just like that without much hassle. So you can bring out Cyber Dragon Core and add it to your hand, then use it to search for other cards as well. For the traps, I play 2 Cybernetic Overflows. So aside from bashing Cyber Dragon monsters of different levels, you can also activate this effect when if this card were to be targeted and destroyed. You can essentially use it to search for other cyber spell and traps added to your hand. So Cyber Load Fusion is a good option as well, or Cyber Emergency Call to add monsters from your deck to your hand.
I played 2 Infinity Impermanence because I played 3 last time, and I figured that I might as well play 2 because sometimes playing 3 of these cards sometimes end up breaking, or especially when you're going on turn 1 and you can't actually negate anything for that turn. And also, I played 2 copies of Cybernetic Revolution. This allows me to tribute a Cyber Dragon monster to bring out a Cyber Dragon Fusion monster, but it is destroyed at the end phase of the next following turn. So at least the monster I will be bring out will at least protect me until my opponent ends his or her turn. For the extra deck monsters, I run 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Zeger. I was thinking of getting two more copies because this deck does actually bring out a lot of Cyber Dragons. So at least this one will allow me to have a much better access for more Cyber Dragon Link plays. Next up is Relinquish Anima to take control of my opponent's monsters when I actually kaiju them for that turn. Next up, 2 copies of Cyber End Dragon, 2 Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragons, 2 Chimera Tech Over Dragons, 2 Chimera Tech Rampage Dragons. So these 2 cards will be the main cards that we'll be using to OTK our opponents. One with higher attack points, one with multiple attacks, just right there. And lastly, 1 copy of Cyber Twin Dragon, because at least having a Cyber Twin Dragon doesn't hurt. With 800 points of attack, sometimes your Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon may not have enough attack points, so Cyber Twin Dragon is a good card to go to.
So the first archetype that is a no-brainer to all, and it's actually the Flunderies archetype. So this archetype has been quite meta for quite a while as well, not to mention the effects of spamming normal summons instead of utilizing any special summons, which actually made Max C kinda useless if you have it in your hand. Therefore, you can't actually do any draws during that turn. Not to mention, if you were to have monsters with like a very high attack points or whatever on your side of the field, they'll just bounce right back into your hand regardless, henceforth rendering your field empty. And even if you were to counter something during that turn, the trap card itself will always be there to actually mess you up. Henceforth, this is an archetype everyone should watch out for, and it's Flunderies. So this is going to be a new meta. Definitely is a meta already, since based on the different videos I've seen, such as a few other Flunderies deck archetypes. But regardless, it's a very powerful archetype to go up against, and I was not prepared enough. Henceforth, it was quite difficult to actually duel against this kind of decks. Henceforth, next up, the next archetype that actually managed to duel against is Eidrich, but with a new competitor, and that is Alba, the Alba Strike Structure deck. The Alba Strike Structure deck came out recently as well, so there are some players who actually mix and match Eldritch with this Alba Strike Structure deck, henceforth going for more fusion summon kind of plays, along with bringing out Eldritch with like very high attack points. Not to mention, since it can go off on a 1 card combo with fusion summoning, you gotta be careful when you go against this kind of deck, since most of the time, since they can do a 1 card combo for fusion summons, most of the time their decks will always be full of negations like Solemns, and also cards that actually negate activation, as I said, Solemn Judgment if you want me to be more specific. But anyways, this deck was fun to duel against, so it was actually interesting to see how I could actually went up against this kind of deck. So that's pretty much it. Next up, the archetype that everyone is actually surprised to see during the entire local tournament was actually Autogeist. So as we know, Autogeist is pretty much a very familiar archetype to go up against by now, and also most of the time, if they would have any Autogeist monsters on the field, the trap cards will actually do a lot of things. So thanks to the different other conditions, that since they're also dark attribute monsters, you can essentially just scratch that off, use super polymerization to essentially get rid of those monsters, and to go for a starving venom dragon during your turn. But because most of the time the deck that I went up against actually had a lot of negations, for example, Impermanence, Solemn Judgment, and basically any other generic trap cards or spell cards that does allow spell back row destruction. But overall, this archetype is pretty fun to go to duel against, and I don't actually find it surprising to find this in the locals. So finally, the archetype that I did not expect to go up against, which is Cyframe. So Cyframe is basically a synchro based deck that actually synchro summons and banishes monsters on the field. So thanks to them banishing monsters I control, practically this is actually a free win for me due to Cyberload Fusion being in contact with my hand since it's banished faced up. Henceforth, it's pretty much an OTK just by that point. But it was surprising and a pretty good way that they actually play this kind of decks. So it's fun to actually see some other players who don't actually go for like the full meta, such as Flunderies, as you all know. And let me tell you, it was literally 6 out of 15 other players who actually play Flunderies throughout this entire tournament. And there are also certain other archetypes that I actually encountered throughout the entire locals as well, but most of the time I didn't actually manage a duel against them since this was like a 2 out of 3 wins, and also the matchup didn't actually got me to duel against them. But I hope the next time I do meet these players, I would have the opportunity to actually duel against them. So without further ado, let's transition into our thoughts and comments.
And we are back. So my takeaway for it all for the entire OCG participation for the locals is that even though I've been missing for quite a while, I've still managed to reconnect with some of my old friends who were actually like very passionate about Yu-Gi-Oh! Not to mention they talked a lot of the different things that went on at the card shop, etc. and etc. So it was fun to catch up with them and also to get the experience of togetherness with my friends and also fellow Yu-Gi-Oh card game lovers. So I guess that's one thing can actually express and also experience throughout this entire video is that no matter what happens, if you are able to make friends in any community, it doesn't matter how long you've been away, you'll still be warmly welcome back into the community whenever you drop by. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And this is my first time filming something like this, so I may be inexperienced, but I hope to do better soon enough. So I'll see you guys in the next YuGiOh Duel Links videos when a new event does drop by, and we will talk more about the event soon enough. And maybe who knows, in the future I'll make some more videos like this, but it depends on whether you guys enjoyed it or not. But that's about it, and I'll see you all soon, and I bid you all adieu. And lastly, Merry Christmas to everyone who's celebrating, and also Happy Holidays to those of you who are not celebrating, and I hope you get a great rest. So see you, goodbye. YouTube generic outro, let's go.